Yo, guys, what's going on? This will be my fantasy football and DraftKings update. Who I like this week and don't like. So, one of my lineups I have. This is DraftKings. I'm gonna go start with DraftKings first. Um, Now, DraftKings is PPR, something I'm not used to playing with, so I'm still getting used to picking players in this type of format. Um, One of my lineups, just to give you guys some insight, I have Russell Wilson, Todd Gurley, Jeremy Hill, Doug Baldwin, Jeremy Maclin, Brandon Marshall, Julius Thomas. My flex play is James Starks and the Steelers defense. If I were you guys, I would be picking the Steelers defense ridiculously. That's who I would pick. No brainer. They're cheap. Um, I mean, you look at the players I was able to get. I mean, Brandon Marshall, Jeremy Maclin, Doug Baldwin, and Russell Wilson, and Todd Gurley, who's already played. But um, your alternate running backs, if you wanted to kind of spend more on running backs, definitely go with Chris Ivory. Chris Ivory is going to shred Dallas. So Chris Ivory, I think, is my top running back this week for who, if you guys, some people go heavy on the running back, some people go heavy on the receivers. It is a passing league, but there are certain running backs like Devontae Freeman. I got him pretty high this week as well. Last week he had 10 catches. That's his PPR, so I think he had over like 25 points last week. I see him hitting the end zone this week too, so I think he's a big one. I started Tavon Austin. He actually had a really, really good game. It was kind of a wild card. He's always a wild card. So I don't know if you guys already picked him or not. Um, Doug Martin was one that you could have picked as well, but I wouldn't have went with him personally. I didn't pick him in any of my lineups. So we look at the schedule for the week. Let me see here. Let's go to the lobby and let's just pick a contest for the fuck of it. Sure. Let's look at this one. Draft team. I'm just doing this so I can bring up the lines. Okay. So quarterback we have Tom Brady's. He's the most expensive this week. He's worth $7,800. Now, I won't even spend high on quarterbacks this week. There just aren't too many matchups that I really like. Other than Brady and Newton, they have the obvious, and Carson Palmer. They're all over $7,000. If you're gonna go heavy on the quarterback, you gotta go with Wilson or Palmer, in my opinion. Cam Newton, obviously, if you're a Cam guy, he's a big pick this week too. Um, if you're kind of looking to go low tier, I went with Matthew Stafford because he's playing really good right now and he's going against the Saints. I really like him a lot this week. I like Blake Bortles and kind of going down a little bit more into the low $5,000 range. Tyrod Taylor, Philip Rivers, and who's the other one? Derek Carr. Sam Shields isn't playing this week for Green Bay. He's out with a concussion. So Derek Carr should have a pretty good week. So if you're looking to spend a little lower on quarterbacks, that's who I would go with. Switch over to the running backs. Devontae Freeman, he's the most expensive this week. You know, I referenced last week with all the catches. He catches a lot of balls out of the backfield. So Devontae Freeman and Adrian Peterson are your clear-cut top backs this week. Have to be. D'Angelo Williams, he's probably going to have a solid game, but I look for him to be more of a running back too or flex play. It's pretty scarce at running back, man, because Thomas Rawls is out, Marshawn Lynch is out, Lamar Miller, you don't know if they're ever going to give him the ball. Jonathan Stewart's out. He's second in the league in rushing, believe it or not, or third actually. My favorite running back this week, if you want to, and he's only mid-tier cost. David Johnson from Arizona, he's worth 5,700. I didn't pick him, but that's because I don't like to pick players going against the Eagles. It's taboo to me. So I really like Eddie Lacy this week against Oakland. Really like Jeremy Hill. Really like Jeremy Hill. He should ball out this week. My third running back this week is Denard Robinson. Now, last year I picked him up in fantasy. Last 3 weeks he carried me pretty much, and it's ironic I'm relying on him again this week, but to win the championship. So I really like Denard Robinson. The Falcons have given up the second most rushing touchdowns in football. So Denard Robinson is a good play. Catches balls out of the backfield. Other than that, man, it's really running backs are just doo doo. I mean, Juwan Harris for San Francisco against Seattle, no one's can in their right mind pick him. James White, hit or miss. Latavius Murray, he might be a good flex because the Green Bay defense is not real good against the run. Other than that, you're looking at all flex plays. There's no like solid running back 1 and 2. I'd go LaShawn McCoy, and if you got the money, I would go LaShawn McCoy and Eddie Lacy, or Eddie Lacy and Denard Robinson, one of those guys. Wide receiver, I don't like Odell Beckham this week going against Josh Norman. Nolan Carroll shut down Odell Beckham. He's gonna get his yards anyway, but he's $9,200. No, not for me this week. I don't like Antonio Brown either. That Denver defense is stingy as shit. He might get a touchdown, but he's not gonna get what he usually does. My favorite receiver this week, Julio Jones at Jacksonville, DeAndre Hopkins at the Colts. Both of them, 8,500 apiece. So you gotta only pick one, especially if you went high on quarterbacks. I don't know, man. If it were me, I would pick Julio Jones because it's PPR. He's going to have 9 to 10, hell, maybe 11 catches this week. And I see him hitting the end zone. He hasn't scored his last 5 games, but he'll have a big game this week. AJ Green at San Francisco is also a good one. He's a little bit less, $7,900, but we don't know what AJ McCarron's going to do. I'm not spending $7,900 to rely on a backup quarterback, so that's not happening. Fitzgerald went from questionable to probable. He's an Eagles killer, but I don't see them I see them using him to move the chains. I would take Michael Floyd or John Brown this week if you're going to pick a Cardinals receiver over Larry Fitzgerald, and they're both much less than Fitzgerald. Really like Alshon Jeffrey. He's questionable though. Calvin Johnson's also questionable. I have Calvin Johnson. If he doesn't play, got to go with Golden Tate. I would actually probably put him ahead of Calvin Johnson right now, the way he's playing. Golden Tate has 3 touchdowns his last 3 games. Also, again, a PPR league, so he's going to rack up those catches. He's averaged 9 catches his last 4 games. So, really like Golden Tate or Calvin Johnson, but I would take Golden Tate over Johnson. Don't like Demaryius Thomas this week. I get he's playing a horrible defense, but they're not doing anything on offense right now. I'd stay away from him. I'd stay away from Cobb. I'd stay away from Amari Cooper. He hasn't done much either. T.Y. Hilton. Stay away from him. Houston's got the 4th ranked pass defense. So, Doug Baldwin, you got to go with him again. You have to against Cleveland. He's the best receiver in football right now. He's only $5,800. Sam Shields, like I noted earlier, not playing. I like Crabtree a lot as a flex. Allen Hurns is a big hit or miss. He's either going to make the big play or he's not. I would take Jeremy Maclin over Allen Hurns any day of the week, or Golden Tate. Damn, Allen Hurns is $5,600. Damn. Mentioned John Brown. Ted Ginn has a great matchup this week, but we don't know if he's going to drop the ball. We don't know if he's going to get open. Up to you guys. He's a home run play this week. Really like Michael Floyd. So, again, if I were going with the starting lineup, I would go with Julio Jones or Hopkins if you're going to go big on receiver. Golden Tate and Doug Baldwin. Those would be my 3 receivers this week. It's almost cut and dry. I mean, too easy. Now, tight end, I don't put a lot of merit in that. I mean, you can pretty much get a lot of the same production unless you go real high. Like Gronkowski's $7,700. No, sorry. Not for me. Greg Olsen, $6,900 is stretching it for a tight end based on what you can get at receiver with other matchups. But if you guys love Greg Olsen like I do, go ahead and pick him. I didn't pick him, but I love me some Greg Olsen. Jordan Reed at Buffalo, he's inconsistent. You never know what he's going to do. He's $5,900. I would go with Delaney Walker before I went with Jordan Reed. Delaney Walker's been so consistent. Tyler Eifert's not playing. Barnidge at Seattle. Stay away from Cleveland players, man. Ben Watson, I really like him a lot this week. That's who I would pick this week at tight end. Ben Watson. I don't have him in my lineup because I went real receiver heavy, but Benjamin Watson is a must start at tight end this week. He's got to get in the lineup. Julius Thomas is the same way. 47 to 4,800 bucks for those two guys. So if it were me, I'd go with Watson or Thomas. If you've already spent too much money, go with Antonio Gates because he's got a matchup against Miami. Stay away from Kelsey. Baltimore's been pretty good at keeping tight ends out of the end zone. So your flex play, you guys really kind of just got to make this decision on your own. I mean, I go down on the lower cost players because you probably spend a lot of money at this point. Tyler Lockett, 4,200 bucks. That's my surefire flex if I'm going to pick one. Him, the little rat, Darren Sproles, or Theo Riddick. I like Theo Riddick a lot this week as well. Averages about 4 to 5 catches a game. Jarvis Landry, I mentioned him earlier. James Starks is a really good flex play this week. So those are the guys I would roll with. Everyone else is just kind of like, eh. Keep Michael Floyd in mind if you haven't already picked him up or put him in your lineup. Spencer Ware is questionable. If you guys can get West from Kansas City, definitely pick him up too. I don't think Ware is playing. If he does, let's see. He missed practice Wednesday and Thursday. So he did a nice job, Andy Reid says. Andy Reid. Fucking press conferences used to kill me. Good Lord. So West, Theo Riddick, Tyler Lockett, Jarvis Landry, Darren Sproles, Danny Woodhead actually has a good matchup this week too as a flex. Any one of those guys I like at the flex spot. Defense, as I already told you guys, I'm going with the Steelers, hands down, because they're so cheap. If you have a lot of money left over, you got to pick Seattle. They're 4,200 bucks. I don't know if they're worth it though. I wouldn't spend that much on a defense. Cardinals against the Eagles. Cardinals give up a lot of yards, like I said, so I wouldn't spend 3,900 bucks on them. If you got the Ched, pick the Broncos defense. They're obviously money. Panthers have been on fire lately, but I just really like the Steelers matchup this week. So that wraps up my DraftKings review. Hope it helped. And that really goes for fantasy too. I mean, I guess this could have been one video, but everyone has different formats. So I'll make another video about that. I hope it did help. Let me know what you guys think. Like and subscribe to my videos. I'll keep uploading every weekend pretty much. So I appreciate you guys watching. I'm out.